hopefully. There we go. And now it's live. So like I say, I will start to ping this out to places now. Excuse me. Share. More options. Share to a group.
See if I can share it anywhere.
So I'm doing it to Halo screen. It's gone to. So for people filtering in, I think there's a few with us already. Hello, good evening. Because this is on my personal page at the moment, the banner is there for a reason. It will come down in a second. Carlos, good evening. We're just going to post this out to a few places because it's on my personal page. I don't want people to miss it because I know there were lots of people who did want to see. So give us 2 or 3 minutes.
Carlos, did you take your guitars? Carlos is my photographer.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Oni, good evening. How are you? Ah, right. That makes sense now because there was a right. I was the post from Peter talking about the way that things were edited. That now makes sense to me.
Human nature, jealousy, irrational argument.
Peter's all right, to be fair. I know Peter quite well.
It happened once to me, I was on a billionaire's yacht, and I just said stupid things because I was jealous.
Evening, Grip. Walter.
Evening, Graham. And Walter, hello as well. I know Stips just said hello, but it's nice, isn't it, to be sociable.
Greet everyone.
So, you will see our beautiful faces in a second. Well, I say there'll be 2 beautiful faces and one man who looks like he's about to turn you over, but... If anybody plays Tarkov, you'll understand in a second.
I don't have golden teeth yet.
All this nanoscreen money, you'll be covered in the stuff. Right, let me just... Where else do I need to send this to? We love handmade ghillie suits. That. Being honest, all these groups have got basically the same people in them, so...
Yeah.
I think that's probably enough. So...
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Number 1, it is lovely to see, hear, view the names. Oh, I hate Facebook that it doesn't follow the comments. You have to scroll down. Leona, hello. Lawrence, hello. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We're going to go. We're going to kick off so everybody can see our lovely faces. Good evening. Welcome from me, Point6. Hello for the new people who aren't normally following my page. Thank you very much for coming over. Stip, do you want to say hello? Tell them who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stip. Stipsniper.com.
And probably the least... Well, exactly. I'm probably the least well-known person on this live stream. The man in the in the balaclava. Do say hello. Tell us who you are. I'm sure most people probably know who you are, but
hello, folks. I am the Covert Sartorialist.
And you are looking very covert this evening.
Thank you.
You've done a very good job. Nice black background. Nondescript. Can't tell where you are. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. So yeah, some Carlos has just said, "Is the covert the real IRA?" And to that I would say potentially yes. But anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Go on, you were going to say something, the covert.
Oh, ask the NSA.
So, thank you very much, Covert, Stip, for joining us. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. We are going to have, excuse me, I'm going to close that door first. We're going to have a chat. We're going to talk about some fancy camouflage things that everybody wants to hear about, I'm sure. So, there are three things that we're going to cover, at least three things that we're going to cover tonight. We're going to cover some 2D stuff, and I'm sure people will have seen that Covert has put some pictures up of a camouflage pattern he's working on. Obviously, people know all too well about Halo Screen, and that's been, 2 or 3 years we've kind of been playing with that. And then, obviously, we've got the newest thing on the market that is your Nano Screen. So we will have a quick chat about that as well, and then everything that kind of falls into the bubble around that. So the thing I'm really interested in the Nano Screen, but obviously the Nano Screen has to go onto something, doesn't it? So the new 2D that you've been working on, Covert, do you want to kind of talk about the process? How have you got to the point you are now with your 2D?
Well, it was not my idea. It was something I wanted to do in the future. But my partner Kamil from Sprinter Custom Ghillie in Poland is a mesh user. He uses multicam, ATAX, Pencott. You know, he's a ghillie tailor, so he needs meshes, and he wanted something, let's say, really made for 3D to interact with 3D, 2D made to interact with 3D, and he has a contact with the factory making the MO5. He's a MO5 customer, and they offered us the possibility to change the colorway.
Interesting.
So the Covert Sartorialist made a prototype, and there was version 1, not bad. We made a version 2, and the version 2 was good enough. Give it a try. So it's not a huge quantity. It's a few hundred meters, 1 kilometer more or less. So it's not experimental, because, you know, if you have so many rolls, it's more than experimental. But it's a first try, and I also wanted to. It was a small challenge, because how to make something that would perform in winter time, in summertime, prone, positive space, stand up, negative space, all in one. Is it possible? Is it feasible? Well, you will see, you will test it. I think it's not bad at all. I'm very satisfied with it. And so it's my first try in 2D.
But you've been
in that first industrial try, of course, not my first 2D. But
I was just going to say, obviously,
when I was 10 years old, I used to draw airplanes. I told you, I think, the other time. So
you did.
Camouflage in 1984.
Yeah, I remember you telling. So I was listening back to the last live stream that we did over a year ago now. And I remember the story you told about living in an apartment block with your mum and your dad, and you were throwing planes out the window, and when they landed, could you see them?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I was inspired by World War One, German, you know, Le Baron Rouge, this kind of fun Richthofen, I know what his name was, and this was the first effect. Then British World War II camouflage on Spitfires, Hurricanes was another inspiration later on. And well, this is how camo began, actually. I don't want to go history lesson, history camouflage tonight, because, you know, I have a life tomorrow. So.
Very good. One thing I did want to ask you. So, in terms, you've got colours in your 2D pattern. How have you got to the point where you've got those I want to say, in fact, I've got some live pictures and I'm going to put some pictures up of the 2D at the moment. So you've got what I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4 different colours, as I would call them. How have you got to the point where you think they're the right ones?
It's the same palette that I have since 2005. I have a selection of maybe 30 colors, more or less.
Of 30 colours, sorry.
Yeah, 30, 30.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I work with. This is something that I know, I master, and so searching the colors was not difficult. It took me like 1 hour selecting what I wanted. It was more mind puzzling to choose which color will fit on the MO5 geometry. So what replaces the black? What replaces the brown? What replaces? And this was very difficult because our beloved partners gave me samples. Samples. You see the size of the sample. It's like 25 centimeters on 50 centimeters.
So I've got some pictures live at the moment. The ones in the trees that you sent me the other day. Are they the samples that you've had before? They're a rectangle. I would guess 25 centimeters long by maybe 10 wide.
So it was a mental gymnastic. Put it on a big MO5 and see how will it look when it will be big.
Yeah. So this is literally an MO5 pattern that you have then swapped color.
I was not supposed to tell it, but I mean, I think, przepraszam, panie Kamilu, but I think everybody will see that this is an MO5, so let's not pretend that it's not an MO5,
Mm-hmm.
It's an MO5.
Okay. Is there a particular reason you went for MO5, or was it just because you got that contact with SCG
this is what my partner asked me for.
Fab.
And because I approve this geometry and this pattern overall, it's one of the best. It makes sense because you have a very generous macro, but without excessive contrast. Not like French CCE. You see, this is incredible contrast. It's too much.
I'm sure that
the contrast between this black zone and this tan zone, it's not really camouflage. It works, but it can sometimes betray you.
Yeah.
You don't have this problem on the MO5, and the micro pattern is not too pretentious, too refined, too fancy, which sometimes is very nice. But beyond 5 meters, you don't see it anyway, so it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So MO5, I'm very satisfied with it. Now that I see it on a bigger format, it will make a big difference. It will really make a big difference because this is the first time that we don't have to correct, we don't have to fight against the 2D pattern by correcting it with 3D or paint or nothing. It's just plug and play.
So you would literally just take your Halo screen and your Nano screen and Cottons and Raffia and anything else, and you'd bang it on there. You wouldn't do anything to it.
Definitely. Teyma certainly will, because he's a master at this. He's incredible. When it comes to MO5, Teyma modification of MO5 is just the best. I think it's the best 2D in the world.
I think
I'm sorry, because I thought the best 2D in the world was Julien from Mimtech, and it is the best. It is the best, but Teyma did even better. It's over the top.
I've got
I know that.
I've got a picture of the Teyma up here. I spoke to him before we came on and said, could we use some of his pictures tonight? And he said yes. And I've got one here of where he's masked a load of different sections, and it's very good. Yeah, it's very good. It's just the time. I can imagine that takes him I assume, all be hand painted.
Yeah, it's not as sophisticated as what Julien has done. What Julien has done is really it's second to none. You cannot. It's just a class of its own.
Yeah.
He is the absolute master of 2D camouflage, and I bow down to him. Julien, tu es le meilleur. Assure, tu détruis tout.
I'll pretend I understand what that meant.
But Tama did something else. He uses it's a spray that we use, Tama and I, and this is a secret in between Tama and myself. No, he's the only black belt, third dan of my paradigm, so I can share stuff with him that I don't share with other people. And when he sprays this on the mesh, it's so matte that it absorbs light. So you have a reflectance contrast between the grays, the browns that absorb the light, and the unsprayed MO5 that still is slightly shiny to reflect light. So you already have reflectance management from the get-go. This is why it's what Tama has done. It's it's like Formula One in terms of cars. So if you want a Rolls Royce, you go buy Mimtech. But if you want Formula One, you go buy Tama. But Tama is handmade in France with it's like making a Swiss watch what he's doing. So there's no possibility to make it's not scalable. It's not scalable.
And that's what
very small quantity. It's art. Basically, it's not industry, it's art.
So that's what I like about
so I think that it's only for a very, very selective, exclusive clientele. While if you're a regiment of special forces and you want the best 2D, you go to Mimtech and you buy Julien's stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I assume. That's the beauty of Julien's, is what I assume he's just able to print that off by the roll pretty well within reason, and he can just make whatever he wants out of it.
He is aiming at the professional market. He
Yeah.
is a professional, and it's a professional. It's by professional for professionals.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell in his work. So I many years ago, I was a police officer many years ago, and I was never a surveillance officer, but I did some work with people who had been and took some of that knowledge on, and you can see in what he does in terms of the work around bricks and rocks and that kind of stuff. It's indistinguishable, some of the work that Mimtech does.
You don't even try to.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
And the cut of the what's the name, SRC, I think, is adapted to the way special forces, and especially his special forces regiment, operate, the way they hide underground, the way I don't know if I can talk about this. They have procedures, and this gear is made to be compatible with the procedures.
Yeah. It's
really hyper professional, and you got to admire this. Me
and Stip chat about various things over time, and I presume that he has contracts along the line with people, and that's why he's able to commit the time and the funds. There will be significant funds attached to those things. So I admire the work he does. Especially around that SRC fabric that's just been launched. I say just, however long ago it was.
Yeah, I have seen pictures of ghillie one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just bought the mesh, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken. He just got the mesh from Julien and uses it in Sweden. And it's very difficult. If you were to use my oak MO5 in Sweden, it would be a disaster probably. But Julien's stuff works very well there, and of course he's garnishing it with Halo screen
Yeah.
and my stuff. So
Is there a
perfect
place that you
combination.
think that so coming back to the fabric that you've got, and I've still got some pictures up here, but is there anywhere that you would say that is I mean, I assume European woodland is what you're looking at here. If I would imagine that would work in the UK.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Thank you for asking. It's made for summer oak forests, forest floor summer, and this was the basic requirement from SCG. So where do most of our customers play? In Oakland, woodland oak forests. When? In summertime.
Is there a reason? Sorry, what I was going to say is there a reason there's no green on that, given it's made for summer?
Because you will add a green 3D.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And because by avoiding green on the 2D, it makes it a 4-season pattern.
Yeah, very true. It's funny you've brought this out. I actually ordered a brown base. It's coming from China. It's the same place as I got my Marpat from, and I intend to do some work on that as well. And it's, I mean, it's not the same as this. It's a digital woodland, desert digital rather. Sorry, but yeah, it's. I love that. I love the 2D stuff. It's dead interesting. Somebody's just asked him about Pro Apto.
Yeah. So the main emphasis is the gray. The real hard choice was do we risk the gray or not? Obviously, the oak color, yes. The beech color, yes. We need some dark brown. So the first 3 colors were absolutely obvious, and you know it. I didn't even think about it. It was a decision made in 1 minute. But then, can we dare to have some gray on a camo? And maybe you can show if you have this picture on the bark. The prototype on the tree.
The one that's
this is a bark gray that I have selected a few years ago.
Yeah. So I've got one where it's hung.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's up now.
It's interesting because there's not a lot of camouflage patterns that do use grey, and yet it's something you seem to use quite a lot. It's something that's definitely missing.
You have some that use gray, but it's very timid. You have a con camo. There's some gray, and you have this new Dutch Army camo with some gray. But you know they have such awful luminance, isoluminance that if you could put any color, it's not worth it. So this was why we made 2 versions. There was the first version with, I think, was a higher, the luminance was a bit too high, and then the manufacturing partner made the second version much toned down, and that's it. I think it's very nice. It's bright enough to be used in winter and dark enough to be used in summer. So good balance.
Could I ask a very quick question? So I've been doing a bit of read. I say a bit of reading. I've been doing a lot of reading over since I've followed your stuff in particular. And there's a lot of phrases that come out: luminance, reflectance, that kind of stuff. And you've just mentioned one being isoluminance. I just wonder if you could just spend a minute, just tell us what that, in layman's terms, what that means to you when you're applying it to camouflage.
I'm Googling it.
It's probably the easiest way.
Now, seriously, you know, this is the word that appeared in the U.S. Senate report about the gray digital junk.
Yeah.
What was the name? UCP, I think.
Yeah.
UCP. So it's funny because 10 years ago, someone told me this word doesn't exist. And he was the marketing director of a famous camouflage brand. And I told him, your stuff is too illuminant. And he said, this word doesn't exist. Okay, but 6 months later, it killed a project that costed $2 billion to implement. So maybe it doesn't exist, but the U.S. Army uses this word, and the U.S. Senate uses this word. Oh, no, not the Senate, the Congress. It was Congress. Because you had testimonies of mothers of killed in action U.S. servicemen who were probably killed in action because they wore the wrong camouflage. No, this is more than embarrassing. This is an ethical problem.
Yeah.
You killed my son because he's not wearing the right camouflage. Who chose this camouflage? Why? And on the other hand, you had the testimonies of people wearing multicam who said, "Oh, the Taliban didn't see me, and this is why I survived." So you know the end of the story. They switched from the gray stuff, nonsense stuff, to another nonsense stuff, but much nicer. But UCP is from a philosophical point of view, from a methodological point of view, it's my favorite case study, because you can take all the best ideas separately, mix them together, and obtain junk, because it's the geometry of Marpat.
Mm-hmm.
It's the geometry of CatPath. It's perfect. It works perfectly. It's battle proven. It's my favorite 2D. So, if you take the best geometry, it has to work. Then separately, you conduct studies about what's the most versatile color. Well, it's gray. Of course it is. And then you conduct another study about I don't know what's the most versatile reflectance and luminance. Well, it's this kind of gray with this kind of sand. So you have truth number 1, truth number 2, and truth number 3. Do you think that you can make a synthesis and obtain one good truth? No. And this is what I have avoided doing this modified MO5. It's not 3 good ideas mixed together to give a bad idea.
Yeah. So you mean
one entire straightforward concept. And I think it's the fault of U.S. Army Research Lab, NATIC. Okay, they came up with Woodland M81, everything, but they just screw up this time. They screw up because too many people, too much bureaucracy. You add the best geometry, the best color, the best reflectance, and you get junk, because nobody had the overview, had oversight. And I suppose the tests were biased and flawed, of course. How could the UCP win any test? I don't know. It doesn't even work in urban environments. So
there we go.
well, anyways, so coming back to this MO5, the idea is that this time we should be able to add as little 3D as possible. On the other hand, not become so flat that you can still see the outline. Okay. Sometimes I have a friend who's a great special forces instructor, sniper, and everything, and he's the one who coined this mantra, less is more. So hello Tango, if you're watching this. And I agree, it's absolutely fantastic, but where is the limit of this approach? The limit is when you see the outline, like you see the outline of my head here, you see?
Yeah.
If this outline is not broken by 3D, what's the sense of putting 3D?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So you have to find the right balance. If you don't want the super Covert Sartorialist with 3 tons of halo screen because it's too bulky in your backpack for your infiltration, okay, that's legit. But on the other hand, if you put so little 3D that you could be just wearing a 2D, why do you carry a ghillie suit?
It's true. Yeah.
So it's hard edges.
So if you want to find the balance, you need the right 2D, and this MO5, in my opinion, is the right 2D. Because you can apply certain things that I will talk about maybe next time, if we decide to disclose them. There's another level of pattern composition that I will not disclose yet because we want to exploit it commercially. But this is really tailored for this use and especially for summer airsoft use. But it should work just as well in wintertime.
Very good. On your 2D is, with the exception of it coming from SCG, is as an example, would I be able to buy it and from Skirm Shop or AN other retailer and use it to make my own stuff? Is that something we're going to be able to do?
Yes, you can buy it from SCG.
Just from SCG. Okay. Fabulous.
Yeah. So coming back to the luminance and ISO luminance, ISO in means the same. So it means that you have the same luminance on the 2D pattern. For instance, on the balaclava that I'm wearing, you see that the black really absorbs light and it's dark. When I move here, you see how it blends with the shady area? This is a good luminance because it blends in. If this black was reflective, you would see a difference between here and here. You don't see the difference. You see how it blends?
Yeah.
And you have some camouflage patterns that are excellent, absolutely genius, like Pencott Green Zone. The geometry is fantastic, but the dark brown spots have the same luminance as the brighter spots. So you have the same luminance everywhere.
So if we talk about luminance in terms of reflecting light, does that come down to the material that's used, or is it the color that you look at?
Yeah, it's the material. It's the
So
material.
where we've got Chinese, very heavy sort of polyester, plasticky Chinese copies, they would have more of a reflection to them in the light than something of a higher grade.
I don't know. Sometimes you have Chinese copies that are better than the originals, like ATAX FG. Very often the Chinese copies are better than the original because there is more of this luminance difference. You have what you want is the dark spots to be dark and the bright spots to be bright.
Can you fix that as a color? Can you adjust the material, or does it come down to your choice of material?
Forget about colors.
Right.
Forget about colors. Yeah. What you want to see is how it reflects light. Is it luminance? Let's Google luminance.
Yeah.
So luminance, as far as I recall, was almost reflection.
Yeah.
In maybe slightly more nuanced way. But
if you're talking ISO luminance, then it's across the whole material, which it would be because it's the same fabric.
Yeah. The condition or quality of being luminous, the intensity of light per unit area of its source. So in our case, it's the reflection of the intensity of light.
Yeah.
So what's the intensity of reflection?
So it's like a mirror. You take a mirror, it's got whatever whether a mirror has a high value or a low value, whichever way. It has a very reflective characteristic. But if you see any of the stuff on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram and stuff, there's these There's these guys who are making these really, really black paints, and literally you can put a light in them and they reflect nothing. So even with a light in these boxes, it's still pitch black. It's quite cool, actually, when you start to apply it to what we're talking about here today, in terms of the way that things reflect things, and then what effect that then has on your base and then your 3D. I've been quite enjoying looking at some of that stuff and applying it across the board. So I guess we're kind of coming on to.
So in the Oxford reference, having uniform light intensity, pertaining the visual stimuli in which shapes or forms are defined by variations in color without any contrast in lightness. That's exactly it.
And I'm going to kind of use this to segue slightly in terms of luminance and change of color and blah blah blah. I'm going to segue into 3D, unless you've got anything else you want to say about the 2D at the moment.
There's something I can say is when you're in this kind of setting, very low light, this is where you can test your luminance. You take a camo pattern, for instance. I don't know what I have here. This is extreme. This is Pencott snowdrift, snowstorm, snow something. When I move this back, do you still see the dark spots? Do you see the dark spots? No. Well, it's maybe not a good example because they're very small, but if you take a Marpat, yeah, and you dim the light, you dim down the light, you dim down the light, you dim down the light. The more you dim down the light, the more contrast you see. The black is really dark,
yeah,
and the coyote isn't. And then you turn up the light, and the contrast is still there. So Marpat is not isoluminant. The dark spots are really dark, and yeah, the bright spots are really bright.
Well,
if you do the same with Pencott Green Zone, you will see that when you dim down the light, everything gets dark. Everything gets dark. The bright spots, the dark brown and the green, everything moves together. And then you turn on the light.
Everything brightens together.
Maybe I have some here. Hold on.
Interesting stuff. Just while the covert's doing that, what we will be doing at some point, if we get the chance, is to grab some questions. I can see things pinging into the chat. Sorry, we're not going to get to them all right now, and we're probably not going to get to them all today, but we'll try and pick some things through as we get towards the end of the session. So it's nice to see everybody here, though. A few names I've not seen for a little while. Gary Fox, hello, how are you? Saw some of your videos the other day, looking very good. Edward Donald, hello. Andrew Sternglass, hello, how are you? Here we go.
Oh.
So, for example, this, you know what this is?
MTP?
MTP, PV bag, Gore-Tex, MVP, MTP MVP. I will leave it here, and you will watch how it reacts to light changes.
If you can angle your camera down a little bit.
Right. This is clever.
This is the sort of thing when you buy a leaf suit and you just glue leaves everywhere. You're not looking at.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do the test. So this is maximum light, and now we dim down.
Darker and darker and darker.
You can see. So this is an excellent example because there is such a high luminance difference between the white spots and the brown that even if I go low, 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 you will still see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that now.
It's almost dark.
Yeah.
Now it's dark. You have only the light of the screen of the computer. Even less. You see, you still see this huge difference between this and this.
Mm.
This is obvious. Now, if I remove the white one, do we still see differences between the brown and the pistachio, you know, green or not?
Not so much.
We still do. So this is something that passes the test.
There you go.
Fit switches all over my house now. Yeah.
Because you still see the difference between this and this.
Yeah.
So this is my basic test when I'm in my workshop, underground workshop, just dimming the light down. Do I see a difference or not? This is the isoluminance test.
Thank you very much. I'm relatively confident
to do the test outdoors. It's in the shade, in the light, in early morning. You know, early morning, no direct sunlight, and if the camouflage looks like a white spot, there's a luminance problem. They have published so many pictures of unfortunately Pencott, where you see no contrast between the green and the brown zones. There should be contrast. From this point of view, this is excellent. This MOD stuff, because the dark parts have a lower luminance than the bright parts. It seems obvious. This is like here. This is what you want from a camouflage, but it's not always the case. On the other hand, if you use the same Pencott that is so disappointing as a 2D, but if you add 3D to correct this, then you take advantage of this, because you have a very bright base layer and you darken it when you want. So you create pattern control. You create, where do I want high reflectance? Where do I want light absorption? And this is why I'm advocating the use of Pencott, Marpat, and all good 2D base layers, because you control everything. You decide, I want this to be bright, I want this to be dark. And if you take a flip-flop pajamas, you don't control anything. They control you, and you're just like running away from a dog that's barking behind you. Ruff, 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 and you're running away. Damn, I have to add this, I have to add more. And you end up by adding so much camo, tons of volume everywhere, and you're still disappointed at the end of the day. It happened to Camille the other day. He told me a friend of his asked him to pimp a KMCS. And Camus told me I used 3 times more halo screen than on a normal mesh suit, because you have to catch up, you have to correct, you have to evade all the burden that the guys, I don't know who in Russia made this thing, but you have to carry the burden of his industrial mistakes on your back by correcting it all the time. But if you start with something correct, and you can go less is more.
Yeah, make your life easier. There you go. Okay. So, using that segue, unless there's anything else you want to talk about in terms of 2D, I thought we would move on to some of the 3D stuff, and in particular, nanoscreen. Because I'm sure people would be interested to hear.
Or maybe in terms of 2D, now that we're on the subject of 2D interaction and pen cut, I would like to show you something.
Yeah, of course.
I do like looking at things. We learn a lot from his house.
It's here.
Ah.
Wow. You have one of them outside your window, Andy?
Stand by.
I don't know what can you see here.
It's in the woods, mine. It's called my kid and my deployment bag. Say mine. I know it was never deployed, by the way. It's never military.
Well, it's really shitty with this camera. No, it's impossible to explain here. I will have to make pictures and show you some other day.
There is a picture of that on your Facebook page, isn't there?
Maybe. Oh, yes, right. If you could get it.
It's going to take me a minute to do it, but yes, can. If you want to talk about it whilst I'm doing that, it is going to take me a minute. I've just got to go back through your page.
Yep.
So if you want to talk about the broad concept.
It's hard to talk about it without the picture.
Okay, right. Excuse me 1 sec, everybody.
Well, the idea is that that when you use such a good 2D,
yeah,
you can use the depth. How deep is it? You can build. It's very difficult to explain without showing it.
Right, what can I do here? Where are we?
The depth in terms of from the base fabric to the top of the 3D.
Exactly. The light is really the light is not bad actually. To the naked eye, it looks very good, but I see that on the screen, it's not good. Whoa. Let's wait for the picture.
Stand by.
This is something I saw. Someone showed me the other day. A guy with a leaf suit who'd put thousands of the silk leaves on, to the point that there was no depth to it because it was all raised out to the same level because they were all identical leaves right the way through.
Exactly.
At that point, you lose it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of your suits, the Covert, which are.
Yeah. So here, but it's almost impossible to see. But it's funny because you see it in terms of luminance. You see that, for instance, here it looks darker. This is just halo screen, laser halo screen.
So
but it looks darker because it absorbs light.
Yeah.
So I have the picture available now. It's
the bare pen cut looks medium, and here you have the nano screen that looks brighter.
Yeah.
But there are like three stories, 3 floors. You have floor rez-de-chaussée, ground floor is the 2D. You have first floor is the short nano screen, and third floor a bit higher you have the halo screen. It's a pity because I made a picture of this week. I thought it was on my phone and I couldn't find it. I wanted to talk about it today. But this is you control how deep it is. So if you begin with the base layer level, then you have one level, something short, then something bigger, and something even bigger. You can have 2, 3, maybe even 4 floors of 3D. Plus, then you can add the coconut cord, this rope that I'm adding, and you have yet another floor. So when you see the pictures of my pen cut, the nice one that I published lately, like the seamless effect.
Yeah, we've got it on the screen now just to have a look at.
It's the one I've got is the one that's on a balcony. I don't know whether it's your balcony or what it is.
Yeah, I'm moving to it.
Blue railing.
It's exactly where I'm sitting now. Yeah. The one on the balcony.
Yeah, with the hills in the background. I
Exactly.
assume that's the Alps, is it?
Exactly. So you see that you have one level. It's the 2D, the pen cut. Second level, short nano screen, and third level, long halo screen.
Okay.
And when the sun is parallel to it, you have effects where you can control the shade projection. You can almost see it on the chest, on the left chest here.
Mm.
The shade. Can you see the shades of the 3D elements?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that you can design. Do you want it to be straight, diagonal? You can design the pattern, and it's impossible to do if you have parallel flip flaps from the get-go.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Does in terms of so we've still got your picture up here. So you've got your base 2D of whatever this is Penca obviously, but whatever you've got in terms of short nano screen, does that theory go the same for a normal cotton fabric? Would you keep your cotton fabric short and your halo screen longer?
No, it's basically the same.
Fab.
Actually, this is a mix of cotton and nano screen.
Okay.
50-50. I will publish pictures of what I mean this week, and then people will be able to refer to our discussion, and I will indicate that this is what I was talking about, but couldn't show this.
So in terms of nano screen, I'm sure people will have seen it now, but I'm just going to throw a picture up of the nano screen itself. So I've got the stacked layers with the varying colours through. So I don't know whether you want to just talk about nano screen and your kind of design process up to the point where it's it's out there in the wild, as it were.
Yeah, well, it's just that I'm fed up with cotton.
Okay. Why?
There are so many shortcomings in terms of long-term use, durability.
Okay.
The colors are not stable. From an industrial point of view, when you order even really bulk production of cotton, it seems that it's every time slightly different.
Oh, I see. So it's the color as it comes from the fabric, not the color it stays when it's on your.
No. When you order, I don't know, reference 342 from the factory,
Yeah, it's
every
not the
time
same.
it's slightly different.
Yeah.
And this is really annoying. I mean, I have been suffering for so many years with this cotton process. So, and they say we don't control everything because so every time you order the same color and every time it's different. So this is the first issue with cotton. The second issue with cotton is machine washing. When you wash the system in the machine for 3-4 times, there's alteration. There's an alteration of the color. This is so you have already a double alteration from the producer and from the machine, from the washing machine. So this was my first issue with cotton. That's you don't really control the colors, and when you go synthetic, well, it doesn't change. It's more resistant to UV also. So 3 reasons to forget about cotton. And it's not stable manufacturing wise, it's not stable machine washing wise, and it's not stable UV wise if you expose it for a long time, if you leave it for a few months outdoors. While with synthetics, you can expect more or less the same, or you can at least have more control, and it's more durable. So this is the first reason I wanted to emancipate myself from cotton. The second reason is that some of the cottons dries fast, some dry slower, and It's unpredictable. Do I have a picture? No, it's difficult to find it now.
We've just had. I'm just going to take one question from a chap called Gary Fox, and actually, Gary, I completely agree with you. He said, "Who washes their 3D camo?" I never have, and don't think I ever will. But I completely agree with you, Gary. I mean, do you actually wash yours, Lakova? That is a genuinely serious question, because from all the time that I have played, which is a long time now, people have always said. I mean, I brushed the thick dirt off so it doesn't just become a brown mess, but I don't wash any of it. It gets brushed down, and the worst is taken.
It reminds me a joke a friend of mine told. It's about coyote. It's not that it will look like coyote color; it will smell like a coyote. But of course, it's in case of if if it's a concealment vest. Of course, I don't wash my concealment vests. It doesn't make sense, and it's even better to leave it on the woods and get the smell of the woods.
Yeah.
But if it's a 2D uniform like this pencoat, the whole idea of 2D uniform is that it's a battle dress. You wear it as a battle dress, you use it as a battle dress, and you wash it as a battle dress because it stinks.
Yep.
So I know that I'm still I have convinced many people about my 3D approach, but I have not succeeded in convincing people to wear 3D uniforms. I think I maybe were like 50 persons on the entire planet to do this, while we have thousands of people using Halo screen and other things that I made. So I don't know why people are still not convinced by 3D uniforms. They want to wear several layers of clothing, and I get it, because sometimes me too. If I wear my Gore-Tex and I want to have a 3D over it, or and for any reason you want to have a poncho but the first choice, the go-to suit for me is a battle dress, because I can hike for 2-3 days in a battle dress. I can do a parkour, combat parkour like we do in the army, jump, crawling, everything. I can do it in a battle dress. I can go back to my tent or to my hideout and chill out in my battle dress. I'm in my battle dress, but it's a 3D battle dress. It's also a ghillie. So this is probably because I'm so fond on stealth hiking, Now, for instance, and this in the long run it pays off. You see, now you have this COVID bullshit lockdown. You cannot play airsoft, so you're not using camouflage. But you could be stealth hiking. I'm stealth hiking all the time, and it's even more fun. You cross the border, it's forbidden, it's fun. What do you risk? Some stupid fine, 2,000 francs, 500 francs. Okay, it's even more fun to do stealth shopping. It's forbidden to go shopping in France, so I go shopping in France, but stealth, covert, and it's more fun. And then you really test. It's not professional use, it's not police use, it's not airsoft, it's stealth trekking. And if you trek uphill, 600 meters uphill elevation in a 2-3 layers system, you will be fed up very quickly with the 2-3 layers. Like people who tell you, why don't you wear a balaclava? Yeah, well, a 3D balaclava for hiking for 6 hours uphill. You'll hate this balaclava. You'll throw it away. You'll be jealous of the guy wearing a bunny hat, especially a mesh-made bunny hat.
It is a very interesting point when we go back to leaf suits versus the BDUs. Is the BDUs are a lot better to wear to do things in.
They have real pockets.
Yeah.
Just the pockets are.
Yeah.
To me, it's just if this was the only reason, I know where I have my stuff. It's always the same place. I have this pocket is here, this pocket is here. It's the same ACU BDU since I'm a teenager. I have the same pockets. I have my knees protected for high crawling. I do like 200 meters of high crawling very slowly. I don't want to do this without knee protection, elbow protection. Why do I have to wear so many layers? So sometimes you need several layers because you wearing civilian clothing underneath or a Gore-Tex underneath. Yes, of course. But for relaxed airsoft playing, nothing will be better than a BDU.
See, the only reason I don't, so I probably wear mine like a BDU ultimately. So I have a Nike base layer, and then my jacket my ghillie goes over the top of that. So I've got two very thin layers on my top, and then I have a very thin pair of walking trousers on my legs, and then the ghillie goes over the top of that. So I've got two extremely thin layers. So after our last live with yourself, Covert, I bought myself some Marpat BDUs, and I've used them, and I'm moving away from them because I found them very hot. That's why I'm moving away from them.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a paradox because it's in very hot weather that I like to wear only the mesh suit.
Okay.
Without, just on my bare skin, and you have the breeze flowing through the mesh.
Yeah.
This is for like when it's more than 32, 33 Celsius, 35, 40, like you're in the south, South Italy, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's an issue with rocks in South Spain, Italy. So maybe you want the BDU for the knee protection, but when it's very hot jungle-like, this is when I really like the mesh suit, just directly worn over bare skin. And you see other people in the BDUs sweating. It's all wet,
Yeah, it stinks.
Like glue sticks to the back, and you're feeling the breeze. Yeah. With a breezy boonie hat, mesh boonie hat, it really makes a difference.
Yeah. So I don't wear a boonie hat. I've got a veil, but my veil is a mesh veil. It's it's a Jack Pike one. It's very good actually. It's nice and thin. It pulls tight. It's just me, yeah. So I don't.
So this is something I was wrong about it all the way, and this is something that the new school airsofters taught me, and I must admit they were absolutely right. Is to play with these mesh, glasses, this grid. It's the best solution, and I like what Oni does with 3D with the glasses, and so I have moved over to this. It's much better than the old school solutions with fog on my glasses and other problems. That for airsoft, it's really it's the best solution.
When we were talking last time, you said you didn't actually manage to play much. Have you been able to play much in the last year or not? No. I mean,
not at all.
You're not at all. I mean, there'll probably be plenty of people in the chat who haven't either. I've probably played. I mean, we've been quite lucky. It's been on and off.
It's very sad, but I've done lots of stealth hiking and stealth photography. So I'm still in the field.
Yeah, you managed to play even.
We need.
It's another game. Yeah, you play against the squirrels.
Yeah. One other thing that I particularly wanted to talk about. So we've kind of covered off nanoscreen, and there's the amazing picture from.
No, we didn't finish covering nanoscreen. This was
carry on then.
First topic was so why the emancipation of cotton. So first three problems with cotton, I told you it's unstable. It's unstable. Then the second problem is it gets all wrinkled, crumpled.
Mm-hmm.
and if your cotton was supposed to cover a certain area, then it covers only 1/4 of this area because it's wrinkled.
Yeah.
So it has too much 3D.
It's just that it's when it's wet and it gets squeezed, like in your backpack. When it dries off, it doesn't expand.
Yeah, it contracts.
It stays wrinkled. Yeah, so it doesn't cover the area that it was supposed to cover. So you have certain kinds of cotton that do, but then they are not exactly what I want, and you don't have this control. You know, I want everything to be predictable, stable, standardized. And this is why I asked my manufacturing partner to come up with something, and this something is nanoscreen. So we have more control over the colors, and I have chosen exactly the kind of texture that I like, and I have chosen the weight of the material, and the way you will see when you will use it, the way it falls, the way it holds itself in the air is very realistic. And then you have the fourth aspect. It's hygro. You know, how does it react to water, to humidity? How long does it dry? You want it to be as close as possible to real leaves. And I think the nanoscreen is a very good average. Very good average. The way it looks, the way it behaves, the way it dries out is what the best I found for the moment to emulate dead leaves. So a nanoscreen is it's a rejection of 4 years of working with negative space materials. I'm also fed up with negative space. You know, I have overdid it since 2017, and I'm glad I have solved this problem in a sense that I have introduced many people and make them more aware of negative space. But now I'm fed up with negative space. I see all the time the shortcomings of negative space and of halo screen everywhere where I look. So it means that have overdid it. So I was in the mood to go back to positive space now. And so negative space has a dedicated material. It's halo screen made to emulate negative space. But you know, reality is not made only of negative space. It's I don't know if it's 50-50. This is something that I wanted to research and then try to make some statistics, but I don't think it's 50-50. I think you have slightly more negative space in reality when you just look at the woodlands. Probably 60% negative and 40% positive. Maybe this is just an educated guess. It's not scientific. I'm just but yeah. If you know, I have answered like 100 times a month the question, do you have brown nano screen, for 2 years. So this is also something I'm fed up with answering. No, there is no brown nano screen, halo screen. There's no brown halo screen. There's no brown halo screen because there is very little brown negative space in where you play and how you do it. You have negative space, brown and gray here in the mountains. When I look at 300, 400 meters distance on the tree line, yes, you have it. But does the average airsoft player care about how he looks from 400 meters away in the Swiss Alps? No. So what does the airsoft player care about in terms of positive space? How does he look from 20 meters away, prone on a oak forest floor? And this is how it began. This is how I began this journey into camouflage. I was lying prone on a oak forest floor, and I was fed up. I was wearing woodland, U.S. Army woodland, and people saw me every time. So this camouflage didn't offer me anything. So I went to the US Hunters flip-flaps in the 1990s style that I had from US Cav. I ordered from US Cav in Texas. Didn't work either. So I took the spaghetti suit that I had in the army. Didn't work either. Ah, damn. So nothing works. So we are in 2005, and it's still impossible to hide on the forest floor. So I began emulating oak leaves, dry dead oak leaves, and this is the beginning of my whole journey into this ghillie stuff. And now it's the end of the loop. I'm coming back to it with the nano screen garlands. So you know this geometry. This is the organic look that I used to make in when was it, like 10 years ago. So you have one side that is the edges are sharp.
Yeah.
And the other side, the edges are round. It's very important, and this is why it works so well. The proportions, the size, everything, it's really, it's so good that I wanted to make something else. I wanted to make something new. And I compared it to the old one, all the new alternatives, and I said, this is just ridiculous. Let's use the old one. It's so good. So you have battle-proven geometry because it has been used by professionals in real steel scenarios, and it works. And so positive space in terms of dead leaves. And this is where the brown comes in. So customers maybe thought that the Covert Sartorialist offers only negative space materials. Yes, it was the case, but it's not the case anymore. I will offer positive space. And this was a misunderstanding sometimes. I have seen a very interesting picture on ghillie snipers worldwide or something like this. This on Facebook. It's a group on Facebook where a person did a very nice work of I don't know, maybe it was some kind of very, very small mosquito net, much smaller than a halo screen.
Josh
And Josh Kelly, maybe, yes. I don't know. Yeah, it was very nice, and from a short distance, the pictures were taken from a short distance, like 1 meter away, 50 centimeters away, and it was in the middle of ivy and this kind of leaf setting, and it was the caption was, let's compare it to the master that is Halo screen, and it performed much better than Halo screen on this picture. And yeah, it did, and congratulations. It's a very nice work. I like it, but it's not negative space anymore. What he was showing was positive space, and this was one of the moments where I understood that, okay, now I really have to offer some positive space to people because they're trying to do positive negative space materials and they don't understand what they're doing. So yes, what he showed was better than Halo screen because it was in a positive setting. But his stuff wasn't 100% positive either. It was something in between, just like what ConCam was offering. It's not really positive, not really negative. And this is this I thought this has to be clarified, and I have to offer some absolutely positive space material. So I will offer garlands, nano screen garlands. First brown, we will make several dead leaves, and then when this will be ready, we will do green positive space. Probably by the end of this year or before. If I spend a bit less time and money on Binance.
So when will the nano screen be available to people? Do you have a date for it?
It is actually available, so you can order it from Teima. And next month, next month in May, mid-May, or even earlier, you will be able to order the garlands from STG.
Cool.
So SCG will offer kits of laser cut halo screen and laser cut garlands of nano screen next month. So you will get green negative space and brown positive space. The second color, the first color of nano screen garlands is called Coyote. Also the name, I love Marpet, and Marpet works because there's this coyote color. According to the legend, I don't know if it's a legend because I have read 2 or 3 times citations of very serious sources that it came from a Ralph Lauren polo. So the team, maybe even it was Colonel O'Neill, and they were looking how to adapt the cat pad to the USMC needs.
Yeah.
And they were looking for the base layer color, the most fundamental color, and they went, and he said, I have a polo that works really well almost everywhere, and it was the Ralph Lauren polo, Coyote color that we now know as Coyote, and this is it, and I love it. It has fascinated me since it's out, but it's too warm. It's too warm, and it could be so better if it was the same intensity, the same pigmentation, but cold. And this is what what I came up with is the cold Coyote. It's the first color of nano screen, and the second color will be here in a few months. Now it's somewhere on a container, in a container on a ship. Hopefully not stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah.
I will make pictures of it next week or in 2 weeks when I have time. So we will be offering by June, July, 2 colors of nano screen, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5 as usual.
Fantastic.
So you will have positive and negative space, and it will give more pattern control for the pattern composers.
There we go. Is there anything else you want to say about? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yes. Well, we have a new green. We have a new green, mint green.
That was where I was going to go next. Actually, I'll pop the
halo screen. Yeah, halo screen, mint green. I had an issue with canopy because my customers in Asia, like Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Japan, of course, like the canopy. They think it's the best color, one of the best, or the best, very often the best. But people in Europe don't like it that much.
I have to say, I'm more of
if you're in Portugal, South France, and if you're not under the canopy, you don't need canopy, or you should use very, very small pieces. So I don't want to offer people a kit with 5 colors, or with 4 colors, and they use only 3, because it's they're wasting their money. So, but on the other hand, I am convinced that it's a good color and that it works, and I don't want to remove it 100%. So the best solution was to add something else that's cold, but with less contrast, and it's mint green. So mint is in between tree line and canopy, as you can see on the picture.
I've got the picture up now.
Very versatile. It's a classic. I think it's already a classic. So now we have 5 colors, and it's a more extended palette of colors.
So if we buy halo screen I say from now on, or when stocks kind of start to work through, are we going to see 5 colours turn up in the pack, or are we going to see 4 and you get to choose?
No, you get 5 colors. 5 greens, 5 greens in negative space, and you will have 3 browns in positive space, and then we will get to the green positive space.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Of course, you have the new zip ties. Have you seen the new zip ties, maybe?
I don't know whether I have, actually. I've not got a picture waiting. That one's passed me by.
I have to update you guys by sending you kits. So you will give me your addresses after this discussion, and you will get kits, because you obviously don't have to pay kits. I want you to be biased and compromised. Give you free kits. No, I'm joking, but yeah, I don't want you to order stuff just to discover it. So I will send you kits so that you can discover all the new stuff and make yourself an opinion.
Thank you. Well, I've got some MARPAT there ready for stuff to go on to. So yeah.
Right. Your MARPAT. Yeah. So this was another thing that I have tried some. I have tried many zip ties that you can get on the market, and well, they're not bad, but they're very far from optimum. And I wanted the optimum, and so I had to, as usual, make my proprietary specifications to the factory, and then I have enough I have enough zip ties for a while. A few pallets of zip ties, and so the color is emulating dry earth, basically earth, and it works everywhere from arid to temperate to jungle environments. And I'm very proud to offer such high quality zip ties, because you will see they just think they look very nice.
Is there a picture somewhere that I can find now to pop up on?
Maybe I have removed it from my Facebook, but I can send you a picture.
Fab. Yeah, we can get that one up at some point in the future so people can see it. I'm sure they'll come to pass. So, yeah, it's fabulous. Fabulous. New zip ties, new stuff, just new things to play with. Everybody needs, dear God,
New things to experiment with.
Yeah.
All about the science.
Yeah.
The science. Yeah, for
Do we have
science.
time for a couple of questions?
Is there anything else you wanna kind of tell us about the covert? I think they're the 3 main things I wanted to talk
Q&A, if people have questions, Q&A time.
Right, folks, if you put your questions into the chat now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through some of the comments that we've had already. But yeah, get them into there. We'll start picking some out, and we'll see where we can get to. So, go. And I'm just
Edward Donald. He asked a while ago, and I said I would try and get in. He looks at a lot of airsofters who make their own suits, and a lot of the effort is to try and bulk out their head and shoulders, the Omega shape, from there. And he'd like to ask what the Covert does to combat that shape. How do you get rid of that shape around the head?
Well, the first is the Omega hood. The Omega hood is a very, very big hood. It's not my design. It's an idea of Julien from Mimtech. This is something that Julien invented. It's like Darth Vader in Star Wars, like medieval monks who have a huge,
just very big hood. Yeah.
Yes, and this is something that Julien showed me in his special forces facility. It's so big that it covers the HK416 and the hands of the operator. It covers the head and everything, and it's really flat,
So is it a mesh that you can see through? Is it one of that?
It's a mesh that you can see through, and when you put the hood, it goes all the way here, so there you don't have this awful shade that's here that always betrays you. And omega, it's actually anti-omega, so you don't see the omega shape. It goes like this. So so this is the professional solution is the omega hood, and I want to include the all the things that I have tailored with Tama or SCG have the omega hood. I don't know if you have noticed it.
Yeah, it's actually
And
it's interesting you talk about that. I used to play with a chap called Phil Osborne, who's from the south of the UK, and he crafted onto a helmet, and he had a basically a thing that would come down in a triangle onto his shoulders, so it just completely got rid of the. It took the separation from the head and the shoulders and just got rid of it completely.
so yeah, you have the Israeli army mitznefet. It's something they add to the helmet, but it's the mitznefet goes only one side.
Yeah,
it's not.
Phil's was completely custom, and it, like I say, it came off. It was a bump helmet that he'd got and then modified, drilled hundreds of holes in it for ventilation. But yeah, it came down and I can't remember whether it attached to his suit or whether it attached to his like a chest rig or a plate carrier or something. It came down and it just took out that kind of neck, shoulders area completely, and you just got this, in essence, a triangle. It was probably more semicircular, really, and then camoed up from there, and it was really effective.
Yeah, this is a very good idea. It's cool. I like it. So Omega Hood or the Super Mitznefet, let's call this Super Mitznefet. Solution 3 that I have shown recently is a generous bunny hat. On the pictures that I have shown with the Super Pancot recently, maybe people are not aware of it, but it's a bunny hat that I'm wearing. It's the bunny head that I have shown actually, but it's so generously full of 3D.
I'm just going to try and find it. Is it the one that's got coconut rope everywhere and there's all kinds of stuff? I've got the picture now for people to see.
That's the one. So all the pictures that I have shown recently is wearing an Under Armour balaclava. You know, the one that you put on the face like this. Under Armour balaclava. And the bunny hat.
Yeah, I've got the picture.
So the third solution, but it's more. It's not even a solution actually. It's to have. I have shown this 2-3 years ago in the beginning. Is you have a balaclava like this, that you put very big coconut ropes. And you attach 3D to the coconut ropes.
Can I just ask about the boonie that we've
dreadlock style?
Yeah.
The boonie that we've got on screen. Do you cut the front brim back a little bit to reduce the shadow?
Not on this one. Not on this one. So. Of course, if you choose not to cut the roof, you will have some shade projection here. So this is a trade-off. You know, it's a trade-off. You will have this shade problem, but when you go prone, this will be a continuation between the floor and the roof. So I think
if you were behind a rifle or a camera. The rifle or the camera would be camouflaged.
So I have compensated this. Yeah. So I have the roof on this bunny hat. It does project shade, but I have a mosquito net, very thin 2D mosquito net. I can see through, and it suppresses the shade effect.
Yeah, I've seen that on
obviously. It's balaclava gives better face camouflage and better head camouflage than a bunny hat. This is a fact. But again, for long-term hiking or intense physical activity, wearing a balaclava it's too warm. Plus, I don't like the fact that I don't hear everything there. And when in some stressful situations, like in certain exercises where I have done in the military or even in airsoft, when I used to infiltrate airsoft games without informing the people that they were infiltrated, and doing dirty tricks to the airsofters, like firecrackers in the tent, this kind of stupid stuff. But we were younger. Uh, I don't know why, but when I'm very stressed that I will be captured or discovered, I have some nervous discomfort in the neck, and here the skin moves like this when I'm stressed. This is why I don't like the balaclava, because it will suddenly cover your eyes when you don't need. You have too much skin or not enough skin here. It's stress. You have it's nervous. It's a nervous problem. Maybe it's only me. Maybe it's personal. But I think balaclava is very good. To maybe play airsoft for half an hour, talk to you on Facebook. But if I'm in a stressful situation, I prefer to have a bunny hat, hear everything, not have contact of anything on my face. If I really have to go covert, I will use camouflage cream, and that's it. So I like balaclavas to make nice pictures for Facebook, but in case of stress, I prefer to wear a bunny hat or a helmet.
Fair enough. We've just had one question from John Wickish. So he says to you, Covert, what do you think of the use of good quality artificial leaves? He says there are some really good imitation ivy too. Would you ever use this in combination with halo screen, or is halo screen by itself better in your opinion?
Good question. I have tried to use plastic leaves in 2005 when I began this journey, and I think that for aesthetic reasons and aesthetics in a very broad sense, not only it's nice or it's ugly, but the feeling you're conveying. I don't want to show up in special forces seminars with plastic leaves. They don't want to see it, and it's unprofessional, it's childish. So I think it's not something that I want to use. But and I will not use it. I will not use it. I will not mix what I call floral camouflage. It's floral camouflage. You go to grandma's flower shop and you buy the plastic flowers to put on your ghillie. This is something I will never do. But there could be one exception. Is ivy. If you really want a super specialized ivy suit for ivy, nothing will beat plastic ivy. But then I will not use it either, because if I want a super specialized ivy camouflage, I will just use natural ivy.
Yeah.
But I think it's legit. I think it's very legit to use it for airsoft in the ivy environment, very short distance. And this is a situation where it would absolutely outperform a 10x, 20x halo screen, because halo screen is negative space and IV short distance is positive space. So you will have much better results with plastic leaves, plastic IV leaves than with halo screen. It has not been done for such purpose. So if you want, yes, behind I had a house before in France, and behind the house I had a private forest. It was cool, and it was like half of it was full of ivy. And at some point, I thought to myself, why not use the plastic ivy? It would be the best solution, but it was just a temptation. I know how to resist and reject temptation like this. So I will not do it, but I understand people who do it. And this is why I also want to offer garlands of nano screen in green colors and also in ivy colors in the future to address this, because it's ivy is important in our woodlands. I would not do it, but I understand people who do it. When as far as ivy is concerned, because I absolutely disapprove maple leaves and all this kind of let's stay polite, but the whole mimetic approach tends to become cover up. Cover up is not camouflage. Cover up is more performant than camouflage, actually, but it's less convenient. It's less agile. You have less mobility. You have and less versatility. So, for example, in the Polish Special Forces, you have a great exercise. They put this was even shown. They had a TV show in Poland. It was called Selekcja. It's like you remember Eddie Stone, SAS.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie Stone, SAS, something secrets, survival secrets, SAS.
Yeah.
Eddie Stone. He was. I was such a fan. Much better than the guy, the ant that you have now.
Ant Middleton.
The,
Yeah.
the new SAS series. Both guys are great, but I think now it's too much of a reality show. TV reality. It's Eddie Stone was much better. He gave tactical tips and more. This kind of Hereford ambiance, but. So you had the same kind of TV show in Poland, Selekcja, and once they were on an island, and an island that's maybe 100 meters long, 50 meters wide, and you have 20 candidates who have 15 minutes to hide on this island, and they're like wearing swimming shorts, and the instructors will come in 15 minutes and bust you and fuck you up if they find you. 15 minutes, and you will get disqualified. How to do this? It's summertime. How to hide on an island when you know that 4 or 5 SF instructors will be looking for you in 15 minutes? So, okay, you don't have a ghillie suit, and even if you had a ghillie suit, trust me, I have done this kind of exercises. They will find you, and the only difference that the ghillie suit will make is one minute later. They will find the guy without the ghillie suit at minute +2, and they will find you at minute +3. Okay, what can you do? You can dig yourself underground. You can hide under the water, like in cartoons with the straw. But this is all. You can climb. You can climb the tree. Climb the tree, and like a monkey, hope nobody is capable of raising his head. And you see the candidates, they try all of this. So one goes under the water and just trying to breathe. The other one, it doesn't have a shovel, but with his bare hands tries to dug. He will not dug a hole, foxhole deep enough to hide in 10 minutes. And you have roots, and it's not that easy. In the trees, they will see you. They're not even off the boat. They already see where you are. So obviously, out of 20, 30 candidates, they find all the candidates within 3 minutes, and that's it. And I have done this kind of stuff wearing ghillie suit, and they find you. They find you. It doesn't make any difference. You just gain more time. You buy time wearing a ghillie suit, but they will find you anyway. So what's the only way to survive? It's cover up. If you cover up with enough branches, thick foliage, eventually they will not find you, or at least you will be the last one to be found. And now I will tell you a funny family World War II story. My grandfather was a prisoner in Oflag Kolditz, which was an elite Oflag, where you had the nephew of Sir Winston Churchill and the son of Joseph Stalin, who were prisoners of war of the German army. And my grandfather was a prisoner, Polish prisoner of war there, and he tried to escape 12 times, and he succeeded twice. First time, they caught him and they brought him back. Fortunately, it was not the Gestapo that caught him, but some very civilized Austrian Feldgendarme. Otherwise, I would not be here. and the second time, he managed to escape and get away with a French colonel who went to the Resistance, and then he went to the Warsaw Uprising and got shot in the head by a German sniper, but survived. Anyway, how did he manage to escape the Hunter force? Cover up. Cover up under oak leaves. It didn't find him. So you see, cover up is better than camouflage. But can you move when you're covered up with leaves and branches?
No. So the cover up
Cover
is
up.
a static position.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the cover up approach. It's the best solution, but you're stuck. So this is why in my philosophy of camouflage, cover up is not camouflage. Cover up is cover up. And when I hear about ivy leaves, plastic leaves, mimetism, everything, I tend to equate this with cover up. And I respect cover up. And if I have to survive, I will cover up. But this is not fighting. This is surviving. If I'm fighting, I want mobility. I'm on the offensive. I'm the guy who's shooting. I'm the guy, you take the initiative. SAS, surprise, aggression, speed. SAS, aggression. How are you going to be aggressive if you're covered up? How are you going to hike with me for 12 hours if you have tons of plastic ivy leaves all over your body? You will abandon this junk and you will go further with your t-shirt. I will be wearing my 3D BDU. So agility, mobility is initiative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is why I know it's very, this is maybe very provocative, very controversial what I'm saying, but I have to be honest. I don't think that camouflage can work below 8 meters, 8 steps, maybe 6, 7 meters. I don't even try to expect this. It can work, but it works because the person has an untrained eye, is on adrenaline, is looking for something. He wants to. We all know these anecdotes that yes, the airsofter was peeing on me. I even had a grandmother who planted a stick in my ass when she was looking for mushrooms once. Okay, it can happen, but she was 76 years old and looking for mushrooms. This is why she didn't see me. If there were Polish special forces instructors looking for you, they will also plant you in the ass, but it will be intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking that a ghillie will achieve supreme invisibility, it's a fraud. It's a chimère. I don't know how you say this in English. No. Camouflage is the thing that makes you difficult to detect. It gives you the edge, the 2-3 seconds edge that you have time to aim or not to aim or to move, or you have this edge to take the decision to take the initiative. But it's not an invisibility system. So this is why I'm trying to be. I love this concept that they use in the U.S. Air Force for stealth airplanes. They call this low observability, low ops. What I'm doing is low ops. The stealth airplane is not invisible. Maybe in the media, mainstream media, oh, F-35, F-22 Raptors invisible. It's not fucking invisible. It's like 20 tons of steel and plastic. How could it be invisible? But on your radar, you will detect it. You will be dead before you detect it, actually. because he can shoot you from 150 miles away while you need him to be 15 miles away to just detect his presence. So this is camouflage. It's low observability. It's not invisibility. And this is the core of my paradigm. We are trying to gain advantage by being hard to detect, hard to identify, without losing the initiative, without losing mobility, without losing agility, without losing compatibility with our gear. You know, everything has to be integrated. But a few years ago, I have trained in CQB. You know, CQB with real steel. You know, Glock M4,
yeah,
CQB. Lots of shooting on the range, and how do you integrate this in terms of camouflage? Can I do my CQB procedure wearing a ghillie with plastic leaves all over the place? How will I do the quick mag release, tac blah blah blah, reload everything? It's impossible. Possible. So this is something I want to avoid, and I'm afraid that if you go towards the plastic leaves, you're leaning towards cover up, and it will not pay off in the long run. The other thing is about mimetism. You know, the imitate nature, like in paint, figurative paintings, contrary to abstract paintings. Do you really want to draw a maple leaf or an oak leaf? Or do you want to give the impression that it's an oak leaf? I don't want to draw an oak leaf, because if I draw an oak leaf once, they will look for this oak leaf every time and they will detect it. I will detect it. The first test of my camouflage is that I'm not capable of detecting my own camo. This is why I do bunny head throwing. And the more mimetism you do, the easier it is to recognize and to identify. The beginnings of camouflage, World War I, who did the first camouflage? Painters, impressionists, to give the impression. When you see Monet, you know the painter Monet, pointillism. And the same for the Germans who did it. You'd see the best SS World War II, Eichenlaub, the best camouflages. They don't really actually Eichenlaub draw Eichenlaubs. It looks like an Eichenlaub, but it's not an Eichenlaub. You have to give the impression. You know, Julien has a great word for this. It's trompe-l'œil. It's to trick your eye.
Yeah.
Like in the Baroque paintings, you go to 17th century churches or palaces, and you see they pretend to be 3D, you know, but it's only painted. It gives you the impression that there is volume, but it's flat. So it's the whole idea of trompe-l'œil, is the whole idea of impressionism, that you are trying to paint something that will fool the brain-eye interaction of the observer. And this is the art of camouflage, the noble art of camouflage. But doing cover up, I can do cover up with my you know, I take out my bayonet, I cut branches, and I go Viet Cong style. Viet Cong style. This is cover up. Cover up is very good as long as you don't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this the other time, about the German army, you know, sniper school, World War II. Don't put these big branches, because you move 1 centimeter here and it will move 10 centimeters here.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. And in this trade-off, I have been trained as a mechanized recon in the army. So you go into vehicles, Humvees, you get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out all the time. How will I do this with branches?
I think from our airsoft perspective, you could just cover up and sit there all day, but you have things to do. You've got objectives to do, and you need allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
I think that's a very good point. That
What is airsoft to you? Is airsoft to you hiding statically and waiting for millennial urban teenage guys who have never been in the woods and never held a weapon, who walk on the main path uncovered in a column and shoot them in the head? If this is airsoft, yeah, it's not my kind of airsoft. You know, my kind of airsoft is more milsim, and you go in an ambush knowing that you're going into an ambush, and you try to anticipate and do right procedures, standard procedures, to avoid the worst. No, I think
I think that's a very good distinction between. So I've been saying this for a very long time, that as airsoft snipers, airsoft attempts to replicate real world application of military powers, whatever they might be, CQB, whatever it is. And you, to a degree, I think you can replicate CQB with airsoft stuff, but we are never going to be able to replicate a sniper, because a sniper is a person who sits at 500 to 1,000 meters, and a lot of their role is observation. Whereas as I turn up to an airsoft site, I do, in essence, zero observation. I don't stay static for more than 5-10 minutes at most. We move because an objective moves, or the area of play moves. We don't dig in, we don't make an OP, we don't sit still. That's not what we do. So yeah, it's a different role, and for me, it's a different mindset. We are probably recon, that kind of thing, that feels closer to what we are.
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing is recon ghillies, actually.
Yeah, and that's how I've always tried to set my kit up as well. So actually, I'm going through a big overhaul of my kit at the moment, including the base, the suits, the plate carrier. It's all going. I've got rid of so much stuff recently. My kit is drastically changing at the moment, to be more adaptable, more versatile, and just better for me.
And you see, this is why every person has a different use of the camouflage. So I understand that for someone, the best option is maybe to have plastic ivy leaves on let's say maybe on a fleck tarn. But like for law enforcement, you were a law enforcement officer. What do you want from camouflage in law enforcement? You want a poncho. All the police that I'm talking about, every time they order the same. You show them the best BDUs. You show them the best, concealment. No. You show them the poncho. This is what we want, because they can go overt, covert, civilian, disappear, civilian. They don't care. They're the law. If you find them, they get out the card and I'm the law.
You get
banned.
So
law-abiding citizen, please get out. So they want ponchos, and I understand that they want ponchos, but who will play airsoft on a poncho? Nobody.
Doesn't work. You can't get your kit. Yeah, it doesn't work, does it? Like, for me, it wouldn't work.
Or if you want to play airsoft in a poncho, you will adapt your style of game to this. This is why I'm called the Covert Sartorialist. The first thing you have to determine is what kind of outfit do you want to wear before thinking about the color, the 3D, the pattern. I don't know what. Do you want a poncho? Do you want a uniform? Do you want, I don't know, a tank top? It's a sartorial issue. It's about sewing, tailoring. This is the first decision. And once this is determined, then we can move on to other parameters.
Yeah, and that's why every airsoft sniper should own a sewing machine. MK23, VSR, some kind of chest rig plate carrier, and a sewing machine. I've got 2 of them in my house. True fact. I've got 2.
Watch this show first.
Huh?
Watch this first.
Yeah, and watch this. Yeah. There's not many more questions piling in, and we've done quite well that we're only an hour over what we said we were going to be. If anybody else has any questions that would like to ask, please put them in there and do it ASAP if you would. Stip or the Covert, have you got anything else you would like to cover now before we wrap it up?
Next time.
Next time. Right, well, we'll book you in for the 11th of April, 2022. Or whenever you release some nice new goodies that we can all talk about. And yeah. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back again. I've learned a load. I mean, I learned a lot last time.
It's really an honor and a pleasure because I don't have many occasions to express myself. And I know that my communication style on Facebook is maybe not very friendly sometimes, maybe too emotional. But I learn a lot from the critics, and I integrate more than they think.
I mean, that is only a positive, in my view. That is only a positive thing. If you can find your way through, I mean, the internet is full of nonsense, isn't it? But if you can find the good critique, and there is some good critique out there, and work on it and help us to help ourselves, then I appreciate it.
So this will be the last word. There has been a very good critique of Halo Screen made by a competitor. Thank you, dear competitor. This has been addressed, and you will see the results soon.
And that's only good for us, everybody.
Thank
So
you.
to take it on board. I don't think there's any more questions. Lots of people saying they're all out to go and buy a sewing machine now. So you might find lots of other lots of other Thamers and lots of other SCGs in the UK, and maybe a few dotted around in France as well. So, Stip, have you got anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm good.
So, everybody, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, like I say, we're only 59 minutes over where we thought we would be, which is a massive success. I think we were about an hour and a half over last time. So, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, the Covert Sartorialist, and thank you everybody else for coming in. Oh, he's gone. He's just gone. I was going to say, where can we find his stuff? Skirm. He's gone, the Cobra. So you can find him on Skirm Shop. You can find him. Thamer sells his stuff. SCG. So yeah, absolute pleasure, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you all again soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.